Hi everybody, welcome to today's episode of How to Draw with Mr. Shaw, or I'm sorry, Time to Draw with Mr. Shaw. Woo. Today we're going to be drawing another children's book illustrated character. We're going to be drawing the character Pete the Cat. If you're familiar with those books, they're written by Eric Litwin, and Pete the Cat is actually drawn by an illustrator whose name is James Dean. So today we're going to learn how to draw Pete the Cat rocking out with his guitar. So follow along with me. If you get stuck, if I'm going too fast, feel free to pause or rewind the video. And as always, you could rewatch the video. You just need a piece of paper, something to draw with, and let's get started. So Pete the Cat has a very interesting shape to him. He has kind of a cat-shaped head, but it's made up of simple shapes. Now that first shape that we have is a shape kind of like a pentagon. That's a five-sided shape. So I'm going to start with a very wide angle. For my fourth graders who were studying geometry, this would be called an angle. Everyone else, you can just draw two diagonal lines, kind of touching here down at the bottom. That's going to be Pete the Cat's chin, and then coming up in two different directions. This would be an obtuse angle for my fourth graders because it's bigger than a right angle. On the sides of that, we're going to draw two pretty straight lines going fairly straight up. You want them to be going definitely in an upward direction. And then we're going to connect those with a curved line. Now, if this was a true pentagon, this would have to be a straight line here, and it would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. But we want to curve the top of Pete's head here. Excuse me. So on top of Pete's head, we're going to draw two triangles. And we want to start those triangles by finishing up this line, going straight up the side of his head, and then coming back down. So I'm going to draw a triangle here, and then another one over on this side. And then if you have an eraser on your pencil, go ahead and erase the line here and here. And those of you who are familiar with the Pete the Cat books might already kind of recognize that wonderful Pete the Cat shape. He has a very distinctly shaped head. That means no one else has that same shape. Now I'm going to draw Pete the Cat's eyes. Now, Pete looks kind of sleepy most of the time, so I'm going to start out with two curved lines, one here and one here. And his eyes are generally kind of a triangle shape. Now, it's not a very pointy triangle, so I'm going to draw what I would call like a soft or a curved triangle. Kind of like that. So a line down, curved line at the bottom, and then bring it back up to the other side. And then Pete's eyeballs, the inside of his eyes, the iris and the pupil, we're going to draw curved lines here and here. Then we're going to draw another white circle inside of those and just color the outside shape, kind of that thick letter U shape. Then Pete the Cat has another, almost like the exact same shape as his eyes for his nose, kind of a soft triangle shape is a good way to say it. And he already looks kind of like a cat, so we can start moving on with the rest of our illustration. Now, I really like it when Pete the Cat's rocking out in his book. So I'm going to draw Pete playing his guitar. And the guitar is going to be in front of his body, which can get kind of tricky. So what I'm going to do first is I'm actually going to draw Pete's body behind the guitar very lightly, and then we'll only darken in the parts that we would be able to see. So after I draw Pete's head, I have that shape in the way that I want it to look. I'm going to draw a triangle shape coming down from Pete's head for his body. I'm just going to draw, I won't be able to see the top of that triangle, so I'm going to just have two diagonal lines and then connect them with another straight line down here. Now next I'm going to kind of sketch in Pete's legs. I'm going to give him some triangle shaped legs. I want one coming all the way out in this direction. Then I'm going to have the other one kind of bending. So I'm going to come down with two diagonal lines like this, and then I'm going to bend them up into a point like that. Now, Pete the Cat wears these really excellent big red sneakers. They kind of look like Converse All-Stars. So I'm going to draw a straight line here where Pete's leg is coming in. And then I'm going to draw a straight line for the back of his foot where his heel would be. A straight line for the bottom of his foot. Now here's where it gets kind of tricky. We're going to draw a curved line. It's called a semicircle, kind of like a dome. It's most of a circle, but I'm going to stop just before I touch this line, And then I'm going to draw a straight line coming all the way down, just like this. Then I'm going to curve from the top of the sneaker to the dome, and I'll draw little ovals for his shoelaces. Then I'm going to do the same on his back foot. Now this foot is pointed up, but this foot's going to be pointed kind of back and down. So I'm going to draw the top of his shoe right here, where his leg is going in. I'm going to draw the back of his foot, that heel, coming straight back like this. Straight line for the bottom of his foot, and then that semicircle dome. Remember, stop before you get to the bottom, and then draw the heel of that sneaker, a curved line for the top. If it makes it easier for you, you can always turn your paper and draw that shoe the way you would see it if it was right side up. Give him some shoelaces. And now Pete's feet are all set. So I'm going to flip my paper back around, and I'm going to very lightly block in where Pete's arms would be. Now Pete has kind of skinny arms drawn with two parallel lines. First coming off to the side here. This will be the hand that's actually playing, that's strumming the strings. And then I'll have two lines coming down like this. And just a circle for Pete's hand. We typically don't see any fingers or claws or paws or anything. Just kind of a circle for his hands. Ooh, I don't want those to touch. And then I'm going to draw his other arm coming down like this and then bending upward like this, where he's holding the neck of the guitar, where he can push down the strings onto the frets to make the different notes. And then I'll give another circle here. Now Pete looks pretty cool. He looks like he's kicking. Now if you wanted to stop here and maybe draw Pete playing soccer, or maybe he's running a marathon, you could. But I want to draw his guitar. And to draw his guitar, I'm going to start with this big curve shape. It looks like a big letter C. Now, when I was drawing that letter C, when I got to his arm, I stopped, and then I continued the line on the other side because his arm is going to be in front of the guitar. Now this line here, where his body was, is actually behind the guitar. So I'm going to go ahead and erase that now, so that it'll be a little easier for me to imagine where that guitar is going to go. Then I want this to be like a rock and roll electric guitar. So I'm going to have two curved points coming up here and here. They almost look like little cat ears on the shape of a different cat's head. And while my paper's turned this way, I'm going to draw two straight lines coming all the way up, kind of behind where that circle-shaped hand would be. Again, I'm stopping that line here, bring it all the way up, and then I'll draw a little rhombus at the top of my guitar there. Now, anywhere where my guitar crosses Pete's body, I'm going to erase those lines because that guitar is overlapping. I wouldn't be able to see his body behind it. And then I could add some details to maybe make this look more like a guitar. I could add those frets. I could add those little tuning things on the side. I could add maybe some decorative shapes. Maybe the strings are on the guitar if I want to draw those in. And then once I have my guitar, I can start darkening the outline of Pete the Cat here, just so my drawing's a little bit easier to see. Anywhere where I have lines that are separating those shapes, I can erase them, kind of like this. And if you followed along, you might have, just like me, a nice little Pete the Cat drawing. He looks like he's rocking out. You could feel free to add some extra details, maybe some musical notes. Maybe you want to draw the rest of the band. Maybe he's on a stage performing for a crowd. You could draw him in any setting you want. However you end up decorating your Pete, snap a picture of that. Send it to me on Class Dojo if you're a Henry Johnson scholar. If you're just watching this on YouTube and you'd like to see something different, comment below. I'll add it to my list of drawing videos. And as always, everyone stay safe out there, wash your hands, and I'll see you next time.